Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here, and today I'm taking a look at a small wallet game from Button Shy called Tides. Tides here is a game for 1 or 2 players, though I'm mainly focusing on the 2-player experience of this. It comes with just 18 cards, like all the other Button Shy wallet games here. And it is about, well, collecting bits and bobs on the beach, getting shells and little things like that, sand dollars, and then making trinkets from that and selling them for the most points possible. You're trying to get to a certain number of points, and if you get there first, you have the majority at the end, you are going to win. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. To set up the game, we are going to deal each player 2 cards from the deck. From those 2, they are going to look at this side here, and they're going to keep one of the 2, discarding the other one. And then we're going to place out 5 of these from the deck, setting the deck over here aside, that are on this side right here. This is the low tide side, and then this side would be the high tide side of the game. So we're going to take turns, starting from whoever has the first player card here, taking 2 actions during low tide. Those actions can be one of 3 things. And again, this is all right here on this card. You can take a card. I would take one of these and add it to my hand, keeping the correct side facing me, facing inside. So I'm holding this one like this because this is the side I have. And if I want to draft this card, I put it in my hand and I'm holding these 2 like that. That's one action, right? So that's one option I have. I can score a set. And that means score one of the sets on one of the cards I have. This setup here requires all these things. It's 17 points, but that's only if I score it during high tide. The same set down here scores 14 during low tide. And we'll come back to that in just a little bit. So take a card, score a set, or pass. And so I take an action. I might look at my hand of cards here and take, say, this one into my hand. I'm going to go ahead and put these face up for the sake of clarity. So this is what I'm seeing as a player. Then it's my opponent's turn here, and they are going to take one. They might take, say, this card and add that to their hand. Comes back to me for a second action during low tide, and I am going to take, what am I going to take? I'm going to take this card here and add it to my hand, and then it's my opponent's turn, and they are going to take this one and add it to their hand. There we go. That is it for low tide. 2 actions each. Once that's done, anything here in the middle gets flipped over to high tide, and we bring the total back up to 5, and I retain this first player card for a full cycle. That means low tide that we just saw, and once around high tide here. During this phase, we each are only going to get 1 action, not 2. And so I can do any of the same actions. I can take a card, I can score a set, or I can pass. Be aware, if I score a set now, I'm going to get the better of the 2 scores. During high tide, you get the better score for making a set. So what am I talking about when I say score? Well, I take a look at all the cards I'm holding, and if I have that many things, which indeed I do, I can score these cards. So let's say my action then is scoring. I would play my scoring card, which is this one. I need 3 of these, which I have here. 1, 2, 3. I need 2 of these, which I have, and 1 of these sand dollars, which I have right there. So this set is going to be worth 17 points. I'll write that down somewhere, and then I discard all of these from my hand. So that was my one action, scoring a set. Then it's my opponent's turn, and they might take one of these into their hand. So let's take a look at what they're holding here. They're going to take, what do they want? What do they want? They're going to take this one. And they will keep it with the side they drafted it facing up. That's it for high tide. 1 action each. Now these all flip to the other side. We replenish it back up to 5. And now I pass this to my opponent. So again, you keep the start player card for 1 full cycle of this side and this side. Low tide, high tide. And now they will take a turn, action to me, action, action to me, flip over to the other side, just one action each, and then I get this. All right. Once the deck is gone, we simply reshuffle anything that's been discarded, and we continue doing this until someone gets to 50 points. We'll finish that out, and whoever has the most points is going to be the winner. So the trigger is 50 points. That's where you are racing to. There's also a very important rule in play, and that is you can only have a hand size of 6, no more than 6. Though you can, at any time, discard cards from your hand to make room for any new ones you want to draft. And so my opponent would do their thing. I would take some of these and then look for good scoring conditions for those cards. You'll see across the bottom of this card, there's also a rarity scale, with there being only 3 of these shark teeth, but 22 of these shiny pebbles or whatever they are. Okay? So a lot more of these than there are of these. So there you go. That's how the game works. Keep playing until someone gets to 50. You've got a winner. Let's go ahead and go back up top. I've been on a Bud & Shy kick lately, enjoying a lot of their games, and this is another one that turned out to be pretty good. I enjoyed this one. It's lovely. It's lovely to look at, that is. I like the setting here. And it's, again, an interesting little set collection card game with some of the components limiting some of the enjoyment. I know that the form factor is 18 cards, that's it. And then that is made into a game, often very cleverly. In this one, I could kind of feel the limitations pushing in on me a little bit, and I'll talk about that. So let's go ahead and talk about my breakdown here. So I'm going to start with the theme and the setting, which I very much enjoy, like I said. Collecting shells and what have you, and selling, making trinkets, selling them for a profit. I like the setting very much. And the theme is neat of, gathering what you need, keeping it in hand, trying to see patterns so you can, okay, I'm going to use this towards that. I sell all this, and I write down my score. You do need to provide, a place where you're going to write this down. Do it on an app or just a piece of paper or whatever. But other than that, it's just the 18 cards in there, and one of them is not even one of the game cards. They're counting this as one of the 18. The aesthetics, lovely. Clear imagery, lovely colors. The artwork is nice, but I'm also very, very happy that the cards have iconography along the side here, so that you're not just going off of what's actually illustrated, which is just sort of haphazardly, placed around on the card there. So you have iconography there, and on the back, very well organized, very nice. And Bud & Shy has fantastic card quality as well. These are linen finished cards, very durable. The wallet is a lovely color and neat. So I enjoy their form factor is what I'm saying. And this one's got some great artwork to go with it. The replay value is okay. The game's a bit samey from game to game, I would say. I think an expansion here would be very much welcome. But it's okay. There's interesting things to do. So I don't think the replay value is particularly low. It's just not very high. Game arc. Also, it's okay. The hand size thing is very interesting. That's where most of the interest there in the game arc comes from. There's a very good player aid that tells you the necessary information, the steps, the actions, and then the breakdown across the bottom of how likely you are to see the different things you would put in your trinkets. That's also very good. But you are doing basically the same thing in round 1 as you are doing in round, 7. So there is no great build. As you get closer to 50, there might be a little more tension at the table as you suspect your opponent's going to soon pass the threshold, and you want to try to get that done before they do. But it does feel somewhat samey, like I said, and game arc is kind of flat. The ease of play. The game's a bit fiddly, I would say, and part of that is the fact that there are 17 cards in the entire deck. So there's going to be a lot of reshuffling of these cards. You very quickly burn through the deck, need to grab the discard, shuffle it, make a new one. You score things, so 4 or 5 cards immediately hit that discard. You got to shuffle that up. That's what I'm talking about when I say the limitations of the form factor here are quickly and frequently felt. I would not mind more cards. I think, again, an expansion might help out, both to add more cards to this deck and to maybe spice it up with a couple of extra little things to do. Maybe something that sticks around and I have a little ability or something. That might be nice. But anyway, generally, the game rules are very easy. Player aid is nice. Rulebook is fine. No issues there. It's just all that shuffling doesn't feel central to the design philosophy. It's just because there's only 17 cards. And then lastly, tactics, luck, strategy. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's a bit obvious what to do, what you ought to try to do, right? So things like, sell when it's high tide so that you can get more points. The trick is you have a single action during high tide. And that's the only time when you can make a new scoring opportunity available to yourself. So you have to know when you sell and give up on getting a new scoring card, or when you hold on to something, give yourself another chance to make combinations, right? To a new recipe to fulfill. That's very clever and interesting. And again, I'll remind you of that hand limit of 6 cards is really where it's at. It feels just, constrained enough where you have to make some tough choices. You sometimes and often have to sell during the low tide for the fewer points just to empty your hand and not have to discard a card and waste it, right? I also like, and this is something that will become apparent as you play, like halfway through the first game, you start to strategize on some interesting things. What I'm talking about here is these cards have, on both sides, they give you a clue or just straight up tell you what's on the opposite side. So for example, if I'm looking at this side of the card, which is the scoring opportunity here, it tells me across the bottom what I'll find lying on the beach on the opposite side. So there's a lot of interesting moments where I know I'm going to be the first player because my opponent has it, and after high tide, I'll be the first player, and I will choose to leave something out there, hope they don't take it, so that it'll flip over again, and then I can nab that thing and take it as resources, or vice versa, take it as a scoring opportunity. So that's neat, and that was a nice, my favorite sort of discoverable thing in the game was probably that looking ahead. So there you go. I enjoy it. It's a very slight game, certainly. It's 17 cards really, and you are doing, yes, kind of the same thing over and over. Game's not long. You'll get to 50 points fairly quickly. So I got a couple of minor issues with it, but it's not really issues. It's more just that the game doesn't wow me. But I enjoyed it very much. It's one I'm going to be hanging on to, in fact, because it's so tiny, it's so portable. There's definite pluses that come with it. It's just not a mind-blowing, fantastic game, okay? So for me, this is going to get a 6 out of 10. And I recommend it if you like their games. This is one I like from their line, I don't like it as much as some of the other ones, like Death Valley, I think is a great game. Tussie Mussie's a great game. Some of these other games are great. This is neat. It's good, right? So that is Tides, everybody. Thanks very much for checking this out with me. My name is Zee Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.